it's age before beautiful.
Nice try.
E before R. There's one before R. Whatever. Good evening, everybody. A lot of you we saw Monday night. Monday night we were all here before, and thanks for coming back. This is another great event down in our beautiful city of Fountain. Thanks for coming down. I'm Bill Elder. Most of you I've met. Most of you I've spent a lot of time talking to. It seems to be a real marathon, especially today. This is our 5th event as well today, but we're sticking around because this is our hometown, right? So I appreciate you all being here. And a little bit about myself for those of you that haven't met me. I've lived in Colorado Springs since I was 11. We moved, which is just a couple of years ago. We moved down from Denver. I grew up here. I went to Palmer High School. I went to District 11 schools. I graduated from Palmer. Raised my kids here. They went to CSCS until high school. Those of you that have had kids in private school know that when they hit high school, the tuition gets a little too steep. And so they went to Palmer as well. So my kids also graduated from my alma mater. We are watching our grandkids raised here. 1978, I started at the sheriff's office. I was a volunteer in the communications center as a dispatcher. 1979, I went on patrol, March 1st of 79. 21 years old, I'll tell you a little story. 21 years old, I write a little memo to the patrol captain and I said, I want to go on patrol. He calls me up the next day and he says, you think you can do this? And I said, sure. And he says, you go back and get with Marie, she'll give you $400, go get a uniform and a gun. I show up the next Monday. I ride 2 days with one guy, 2 days with a second, 2 days with a third, and I walk in on after my days off, and the sergeant tosses me a set of keys, and he said, you did great, you're in District 1. And I said, wonderful, where's District 1? And do I get to shoot my gun first? And so that's how my career started. 7 months later, I went to the police academy, and my career was off. And over the next 20 years, I went through all of the operations portions of the sheriff's office. I grew up and did a lot of patrol stuff. I spent time in detectives. In 1982, I promoted to sergeant. Went to the communications center again, ran it for a while. Learned a lot about how the communications center works. And then in 1989, I got promoted to lieutenant and was a patrol shift commander for a while. 93, I went to Metro Narcotics. And I was a commander in Metro Narcotics. I spent the next 4.5 years there. And we grew Metro Narcotics from a 2-agency unit to the largest Metro Narcotics agency in Colorado. We brought in 14 member agencies. We worked all over El Paso and Teller counties. And I really learned the need to build relationships and collaboration between agencies. We were able to build some really strong friendships and bonds that last through today. And a few years ago, I retired from the sheriff's office. I didn't really retire. I resigned in 1998, and I went into real estate, and I still have a real estate business today. I have a broker associate license with Bennett Schellenberger, which is actually the oldest real estate company in Colorado. It's the 7th oldest business in Colorado Springs. It's pretty amazing. It's been around since 1890, and so I've been blessed to have that business, and in 2010 I got offered a position with Fountain Police Department. I started as the operations commander, and for the last couple of years I've been the deputy chief of police. That's why this is kind of hometown for me. I know a lot of you from being around Fountain. I've really enjoyed my job. And now with Terry Makita being term limited, a couple of years ago we started a run for sheriff. And so we built our campaign on 3 things. And the first is the protection of your constitutional rights. And that starts with the First Amendment, because obviously, as we've seen in the last little bit, people can pretty much say what they want to say. And that's the way it is. Your Second Amendment rights with firearms. I fully support concealed weapons permits. You won't see a change in that program. But I lean a little bit more towards constitutional carry. I'm a life member of the NRA, and I have my first hunter safety permit was when I was 11 years old, and so I believe that the Constitution says you have the right, the God-given right, through the Heller decision, to keep and bear arms. It doesn't say that if you want to carry a firearm and put on a coat, you have to go get a permit. I believe you should be able to carry a firearm when you want to carry a firearm. If you're a woman, if you want to put it in your purse, put it in your purse. You don't need a permit as far as the Constitution goes. And I just want you to know that that's a big deal. But in addition to those amendments, the Fourth Amendment is probably very key. You need to know that you're secure in your persons and property and papers. The Fourth Amendment, through the Terry decision, Terry versus Ohio, talks about stop and frisk. And you need to know that law enforcement officers care about your Fourth Amendment rights. And they care about probable cause versus reasonable suspicion. I can't say articulable right now, my mouth's a little dry. But there's a difference between those two. Rather than reasonable suspicion, probable cause is the facts and circumstances within the officer's knowledge and belief that would lead a man of reasonable and prudent caution to believe that a crime has been or is being committed. That's the difference, and we need to know that. We care about the Fifth Amendment and Miranda versus Arizona. We care about the Sixth Amendment and your right to a fair trial. Your constitutional rights are foremost in my campaign. And next, I want to tell you that I think that we can collaborate and cooperate regionally to develop. It's a little dry. That we can develop some relationships locally where we can save millions of dollars. We think that through a study, we can put our communication centers together and create a single public safety answering point to speed up those calls. There's 25,000 calls a month sent to 911. 80% of those go to the Colorado Springs Police Department. They have to transfer those to other communication centers when they don't belong to the city's call center. We think that if we put all the call takers in one room, they can handle those calls faster and better. And through that collaboration with the enhanced 911 system, through El Paso Teller 911, we can save $3+ million a year. We want to combine the training experts of multiple agencies together to create a regional training center in a public-private partnership that we can train law enforcement officers in southern Colorado better than anywhere else in the country. We know we can do these things. They'll only work when we work together. And lastly, I want to build on transparency. I want you, the voters, to know that the tax money that we spend is exactly how you want it spent.
Yes.
And I propose that we do an audit by an uninvolved third party to report those results to you. Not that I suspect anything's wrong. Not that I don't know that the county commissioners don't already conduct an audit. But I want an audit done by an independent. I want you to know that I want to spend your money wisely. I don't want to have the problems that Terry Goodall talked about. I want you to be able to have those answers and not be worried about it. Questions?
Bill, what's your stance on arming teachers in school?
Arming teachers in schools. Again, we have an issue with a federal law that keeps them from being armed. I don't have a problem with teachers being armed in schools. We have to get past the Federal Safe Schools Act. We have to get past some of those. But if teachers want to be armed in schools, the Constitution doesn't say that we should be able to stop.
How would the sheriff's office be involved?
Well, we have to get past the law first. Until we get past the law, we can't even get into that. Sir.
Yeah, I guess I don't understand this audit. From what I hear, we're trying to go back 20 years.
Well, that email that went out. Okay. My suggestion has never been to go back.
Okay. And I guess because what I think is as critical as they were talking about $400,000, I think, particularly since we're talking about two people of our own party, the last thing we need this year is to have a fractured party again, because we're going to lose if we do.
I understand.
And I expect every candidate that I back that if we lose going into the election, that I expect them to throw 100% behind whoever does represent us.
I agree 100%. I want you to know, I never once, in months of doing this and discussing the audit, I never once said go back. I never once said anything about John Anderson or Terry Makita. Those words did not come out of my mouth. I didn't suggest it. That is not what I intend. What I intend is to look at the budget today, look at every single piece of that budget, and make sure that that budget today is spent the way it's supposed to be spent. Okay? Mr. Postman,
Yeah.
thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you, you're welcome. I'm, Melvin, I'm a perennial delegate, which I'm very proud of. And my statement, Bill, is more, not so much a question to you. Here a while back, I got a ticket. Now, it turns out that circumstantial evidence coming up, believe it or not, the Motor Vehicle Department of Colorado actually admitted to making a mistake. But what my problem is, I got this ticket in January. I go to court April the 4th. Now that's just too far from ticket issue to court. So I don't know if you can do it in your office or not, but I'd sure like to see quicker response. If you get a ticket today, I think that 90 days is just too cotton picking long to hold that ticket at a person. For instance, they took the tags off my car. Okay, the motor vehicle department admitted they were wrong. I got a new set of Purple Heart plates from the state, no charge. So I'm driving. But if I hadn't have been able to show the error, I would not have driving privileges for 70 days or better.
Part of that deals with the backlog in the courts. That just deals with, they need us to set them that far out so that the summonses can actually make it to the court and it can get set on the docket. Isn't that about
Well,
right?
I understand why it happens. I'm just saying, if you can work on it, please do, because April 4th, I think that ticket will be dismissed, but that's still from January to April 4th.
It is a long time.
If I couldn't have gotten a pair of set of plates from Denver, I'd be walking.
Anybody else? Sir?
I think we all saw the assault on the Second Amendment
Yes.
that happened last year. This being the largest county in the state, what I saw from Terry last year was amazing. The leadership, he led 28, I think there was 28 other sheriffs in an initiative to try to push back, drive back some of these things. If elected, would you show that kind of leadership, that kind of vocal?
Absolutely, no question. And I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. When the recall effort started, we took our campaign. Now, we were in pretty much full swing during that recall effort. We stopped the campaign. We took off our campaign badges and we went down to Republican headquarters, picked up precinct maps, and we all went out and started walking in support of the recall and in support of Bernie Herpin. We absolutely supported that 100%. What he did was exactly right. He stood up in front and showed leadership. That's exactly what we need to do, and I would do the same thing. Thank you, Bill.
Mr. Elder, my name is Suzanne. I'm on the school district gate. Recently in the news, I just saw the Paso County Sheriff's Department did, in conjunction with the school district down there, firearm safety and educating kids about fire safety and how America's was founded on guns. And I was wondering, if you were elected, would you be willing to do something with our school district?
You know, I thought that was a great program. The gal that ran that actually reached out to me last week and asked the same question, and absolutely. I think that the fact that we can not only train young people in firearm safety, but we can remove some of the stigma that goes along with firearms by doing that. Absolutely, I think that's a great idea. I think that any time that we can, people are so afraid of guns for some stupid reason, and absolutely, I appreciate that.
Like the one educator said, kids get in trouble just for doing this.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I think that's kind of ridiculous too, because I just recently found out my niece had a picture taken of her with a shotgun, and I thought it was a great picture. And I talked to my sister about it. They have firearms in the home, and she doesn't know how to use one. And I'm like, how could you not teach her how to handle a firearm?
There's so many different ways to train kids today.
And I think they should. I think they should be trained
Sure.
because I'd much rather them know how to use it properly than come across one and say, "Hey, what's this?"
Anybody else? We got a minute. Nobody else. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. I appreciate it. I look forward to your support on the 29th. Bill Elder for El Paso County Sheriff. Thank you very much.